Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Moon Builders Workshop series. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Today we have an amazing workshop for you all featuring Johnny from Dapp That. Now, Dapp That is a brand new and very, very full-featured framework for building dApps with AI. And it goes way beyond the basics. It's complete, really end-to-end development and deployment of smart contracts and all the associated features of building a dApp. And so with Moonbeam, we're all about building new smart contracts and making it easier for developers to build. And we take an agnostic approach. We don't say that you have to build a certain XYZ way. We want to give you all the tools and make it as easy as possible for you to choose which tools you'd like to use. And so that's why we're so thrilled to have Dapp That on board and supporting Moonbeam. And that's why we're very excited to have Johnny give us a demo today of how it works and how you can get started building with Dapp That. And so, just to give a quick intro, Johnny is a co-founder and core developer of Dapp That. He's also a serial entrepreneur in AI, in blockchain, and in climate tech. And Dapp That is also built by the Spark Engine team. And the Spark Engine team is known for building AI-powered products at a rapid pace for developers, but also minimizing the amount of coding experience and background that folks need. So really excited to have you here, Johnny. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. Hi, Melissa. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to today. So, awesome. Sorry. Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. I've been working on Dapp That for about 5 months now. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sticking around and joining the Moon Builders Workshop. I just wanted to give a quick introduction from me. I am the global marketing manager here at Moonbeam. So you probably have seen me at ETH Denver or behind the scenes, but really looking forward to building more AI-powered tools on Moonbeam. So what does that mean? That means making your builder journey easier with AI, and really excited to welcome Dapp That into our ecosystem. We have such a great lineup coming up. So if you have any questions, definitely drop them in the comment below. I will be fielding them to Kevin and Johnny as they give this really amazing demo. So yeah, over to you, Kevin.
Cool, thanks, Melissa. And thanks, Johnny, for joining us. And yeah, I'll pass it over to you, Johnny.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me. I'm just going to I'll kind of give you a little bit of a background first. I didn't go to university. I started by creating a study group on Discord, focused entirely on Solidity. I ran this for about 3 years, and I would go through the headache of making tutorials, and every time I made a tutorial, I would leave a link to the study group, right? So everyone who filed in was consuming educational content on Solidity. I built up that community. I became more like them, and I'd highly recommend anyone that wants to learn anything is just purely expose yourself to the people that know the things that you want to learn. It's a much more fun way to do it anyway. So during this time, I set up a dev workshop and then became a dev agency. And that's where I kind of learned these skills and kind of what I've put into practice using Spark Engine to clone my own thought process, really, right? In terms of this. So I can just give, let me just share my screen real quick, and I can take it away.
Cool. And when did Spark Engine launch?
Oh, well, we were in beta for about a year. We like to refer to it as the buggy beta because every day there was a new bug. We have a really funny marketing video on that, actually. But yeah, we launched about a month ago, and we've had really good feedback. We've got customers that are coming in, paying us now. It's been really, really awesome. And yeah, really excited for like everything that's going on and all the things that we've actually managed to achieve with Spark Engine. Like this project, I don't think it would have been as easy to build this project if it wasn't for Spark Engine, because we have about 100 large language models on there at the moment, and just being able to kind of switch in which ones you're using in different areas and chain different AI communications together has just helped this move along like amazingly. Yeah.
I'd definitely like to ask you later on, once we get into the app generation, but I'd like to ask you, how those tasks get assigned and how you choose like which LLM for which task, and if there's duplication or things like that, and how they kind of work together.
Yeah, for sure. We did just upgrade one of the models for the component generation, which just produces phenomenally better results than the last one. So we've got so many different areas. If you need to use a pea shooter, you use the pea shooter, right? In terms of different models. Right. I'm just going to share my screen. Yes, perfect. Okay. So right now we do, because this is in beta right now. If you go on to dappthat.com, you can join our Discord server, and you're able to claim enough credits to go through like the generation of a single page DApp, just to kind of like get some feedback and get you kind of using it and understanding how to best leverage this technology. There is those that want to come back to this. There is a demo video on the platform as well. I'm going to update it a little bit. And then there are also some demo DApps that I have made with the generator and open sourced. This was earlier in the development cycles of progress of Dapp That. So this one was a bit more complex. So I generated about 50% of it and then edited it. This one about 75%, and this one about 80%. But it really, it's tailored at innovation, right? And this is one of my friends, the founder of Project Moonhut. He taught me that you need to innovate faster. And the faster you can innovate, the more problems you can solve, and the better of a world you can actually make. So I'm just going to kind of get right in here and get to generating. I will warn you now, right? Like 1 in every 20 times of running this generator, it crashes, right? That's because it is a beta. Pardon?
You got to move fast and break things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite fun though. You can either use your Web3 wallet or an API key. The API key you get from Spark Engine. Right now, we have a 50% off for using Web3 instead of the API key for Spark, purely because this is it is in beta, and we don't want to be overcharging people. So connect my wallet. It's going to ask me for a signature, so I can verify on the Spark Engine backend that this is my wallet. It connects to my credits. So I'm going to connect here. We're going to start off on the information gathering stage. So there is a demo application I've made quite a few times on these demonstrations, which is called DynoSwap. The main purpose of the application, this one, I like to kind of go into the detail of, what smart contracts that I kind of want. So this very high level, I want an ETH staking contract and an ERC20 token called Dyno. The user will be able to stake ETH, and they'll be rewarded for every ETH that they have staked. So for example, they have 1 ETH staked, every block they'll get 1 Dyno token. And then who's going to be part of your community? This is actually going to help the AI kind of understand what user roles should be put into place in the smart contract. And that'll then come into play into the generation of the web application as well. Just stop this. This is going to generate a summary just to make sure that it's understood what you're asking for. If it doesn't necessarily understand it exactly correctly, then you can just add some feedback in here and submit feedback. Otherwise, you can just go on to the next section. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to have a single page a single page web application, and you can choose what colors you like just in text. So I'm going to go for a red, green, and light blue. Very basic colors, but you're able to choose this as you want. And then on here, what specific features I like in the DApp. At this point, I do want to say this is built for making the smart contracts and a Next.js front end, Vercel, a serverless APIs, and a Supabase database, right? Of course, once this comes out at the end, if you would prefer to use some different technology, it's very simple for you to be able to transition this. And we will be adding further support down the line for creating like Express.js servers, and this entire generator is heavily developer focused, right? Until we're at the point where we can add in sanity checks in different areas to confirm that certain integrations happen correctly, and whatnot. There's this is kind of the situation that it is.
How many networks? By the way, like I love that it's Next.js and Vercel. I have an app that is a front end for that too. But how many networks does it access? Obviously Moonbeam, but like when you write your smart contracts, what other networks can you access?
Okay, so we have Ethereum. It's not made for mainnet just yet. It's made for the test nets because we want to kind of pull it a little bit backwards while it's in beta. We don't want to be throwing loads of things on chain that should probably go through a more thorough audit. But it gets you like pretty much all the way to the line, right? So right now we support Telos, IOTA, and Moonbeam, as well as Ethereum Sepolia. So that's where we're at right now. But we have quite a number of different EVM chains that are speaking to us and wanting us to integrate as well. So there's always going to be more support being added for different chains. So on this web application, I want there to be staking, unstaking, claiming claiming rewards, and to be able to view balances, right? That's really all the things that I want on this. We'll kind of see this through. If you don't have any credits in your wallet, you can get to this stage, right? So you can go through the summary and you go through the form. But if you don't have any credits, then you'll be able to kind of be alerted here. And you can go up here and hit buy credits, and you can pay in ETH or you can buy a specific amount of credits. Completely up to yourself, really. Going through into this is now focusing on the functional requirements of the smart contracts, right? So we do the generation in terms of the smart contracts first, and then the web application built around the smart contracts. For developers, functional requirements should be kind of commonly known. We do them on two different levels. Something that I've learned from the people in cybersecurity that I've worked quite closely with is to kind of abstract it to different levels. So we have our global requirements for all of the smart contracts in here, and then we have the requirements for this one's a Dino token and this one's Dino staking. Okay. Now you are able to change the text in here, delete some requirements, add new requirements, delete a contract, rename the contract. Whoops, didn't hit that. And then also adding new contracts and requirements as well. Let me just go in there. This section takes about 90 seconds. Okay, so this is where the kind of magic of Spark Engine kind of comes into play. We've got a multi-agent system, which is taking the functional requirements we have, and it's going to break it down into multiple steps. The reason that we do this is that we found that if you're asking an AI an A to Z prompt, right? For example, I want this DApp, right? It's going to miss out loads of information, right? It's not going to give you absolutely everything that you need. And so breaking that down into multiple smaller steps is actually very useful for the reliability of the output and the quality that comes out as well. So this is now generating tasks first of all. And then each of those tasks is going to then generate, well, each task is a smart contract. And then it's going to generate slightly higher level information and slightly lower level. For about 90 seconds here, and then generating the smart contracts themselves. Is there any questions you have at the moment while we're in this stage?
Oh yeah, oh sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
I don't see any questions on X, but just wanted to reach out to the viewers and say if you do have questions, put them in, and then I'm happy to funnel them to Johnny. Go over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, just was that list on the prior screen, is that list like dynamic of requirements? Or is it something where like each contract you kind of have like a list of functional requirements that you typically include, or is it, it changes for every type of contract?
It changes for every type of contract. So for example, a functional requirement generally starts with this must, right? So for example, this must adhere to the ERC20 token standard, right? There's so many different types, right? But they're specific to each contract and they're generated bespoke. So they're not, it's not like they're predefined before you go through the generator.
Cool, that's great.
This is, as it says, generating the smart contracts. Before you leave this stage, you're going to be able to compile your smart contracts, right? Now, it's important at this stage that you do compile your smart contracts, because if you get further into the generator and it doesn't compile, then there's going to be problems, right? We have here our Dino staking contract. It's documented, going through each of the different areas, and then also our Dino token. I'll just compile one for now for the purpose of the demo. But we should see, what were the errors? An overriding function is missing override, right? So what function here? It might be pause. Increase allowance. Oh, it might be these increase allowance. Decrease allowance, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to edit this. Okay, so this is where kind of the benefit of this comes into play. We have an API on the back end which allows you to compile and execute tests on the fly. Let's see if that compiles this time. Takes something like just under 10 seconds, kind of standard for hard hat. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, it can be really quick and easy to have these errors come up and then be able to debug them, right? That's kind of like the benefit of where we're at. Now, I am just going to focus on the Dino token for this one, but we'll generate the tests. And first of all, this is another roughly 90 second AI call. This is using Gemma, Google's Gemma model, Gemini model, Claude, GPT. I can't remember if it's 4.0 or 0.1. I feel like there's another model in there as well. Anyway, essentially all of these models are analyzing the smart contract from different angles, because each of these models are trained on different pieces of context. They have different like priorities, let's say. And so, getting this as a quite comprehensive test coverage, it's able to take all of these tests that are generated from each of these and then combine them all together to display these here for you. Once it's gone through the test cases generation, it's then going to analyze the smart contract that's being tested to see, is there any mock contracts that are required in order to test this contract? Okay, is there one? Yes. Right, well then let's generate that mock contract as well. Once you've done this, you can go ahead and generate the actual code for the test. Again, it's using hard hat, so using like ethers and chai. We are going to enable support down the line for truffle. Actually, no, truffle was truffle stopped being supported tonight.
Truffle was kind of sunset, right?
Pardon?
Truffle was kind of sunset by the.
Yeah. I use hard hat so much that it was kind of like it came out of my mind for a second. So you see here, it found that it needed the mock Dino staking contract. It's generated a mock contract here, very bare bones functionality, just to kind of prove the functionality of this other contract. And here I'm going to generate this code here. This is a very simple test, this one, just making sure that it correctly initializes the name, Dino token, and the symbol. There are different types of tests. So as you see up here, functional, security, stress type, and edge case. And you are able to edit the test, delete the test, add new tests, kind of choose which one you want to go with, what's the purpose, what's the contract being tested. And you can see here we have the test code here. All it's doing is getting the contract factory, deploying the token, getting the name, and then making sure that the name does equal Dino token and that the symbol does equal Dino. I'll execute this so we can see what it looks like. This should be not a problem. And then I'll add in some bogus code just to kind of show you that you can see what the errors are as well. So you see there's one total test, one passing, 5 seconds, and the test was successful. I'm just going to edit this, and I'm just going to add in, not to that section, just here, I'm just going to add some random keys here. We'll save that and run the test, and we should be able to see that there is an error and what the error actually is. Just a couple more seconds. Yeah, so we see that extra bit of text I just added in the end is not defined. And so we can understand that that's where the error is, and we can kind of course correct from there. As you see, there's a whole bunch of tests here. There's gas optimization tests in here apparently as well. I love the AI, right? Like, even if I don't define certain certain types of tests, it still finds ways of throwing new ones in there. Okay, so this one is the staking contract. We're just going to pass on that one. We're going to focus on the we're going to focus on the token. There is no parameters for the constructors, so we can just go ahead and compile. If you're wanting to grab like the ABI manually, I'm going to add in here a button to just copy it. But right now, it just shows all here on the screen, right? So you can see the ABI for all the different contracts, the bytecode and everything. If you really want to, you can just take it. I will be making this easier to parse. Going down to deploying the contract, we're already connected our wallet to the generator anyway. So I'm just going to go down to Moonbase. If you don't have any dev tokens for Moonbase testnet, then you can click here. It'll open up to the faucet. You just give your address. You'll be able to get them in your wallet. And really, we added that in as like a, not everyone's going to have that. Maybe they want to deploy on a new chain. Maybe haven't deployed on Moonbase before, right? So that's where we want it. And then obviously, if you've got any constructor arguments, you can pass them in there. They'll automatically appear based on what was required. One thing I actually really liked about Moonbase was that it was I deployed just before this call, and it was so fast. In comparison to some of the other test nets, like which can be really slow.
That's our new Snappy client, which was released pretty recently. That's
All right.
experiencing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I was very happy to to see that, because some of them can take a while. So now we're focusing on the web application. Now that our smart contracts are good, we are going through the page plan, right? So I only asked for a single page application. So we've got the home page, the purpose of the page, what components are going to be, right? So here we have the header, a staking stats, staking interface, and rewards tracker. I don't want this to be a rewards tracker. I'm just going to call this claim rewards. A get staking interface, but I'm going to add it to make it a staking dashboard. And then I'm also going to add in here an app intro. So we can just kind of reorder these. Yeah, that should be fine. And here. This is now going to create context for each of the components. What's the user goals? What's the primary function? What is the, oh gosh, I've been through this too many times. I should be able to say this on the back of my hand. Key elements, content, and the functional requirements, right? So you see here for the header, it's saying it needs the wallet connect and disconnect functionality. And you're obviously you're able to make any edits here before proceeding to the next stage. At every stage of the way, it's meant for you to be able to amend and verify that it's correct before moving to the next stage. If we really want to be using AI to the best benefit for humanity, then we should be able to guide and course correct it along the way, right? Which not everyone in the AI space is fully aligned with, right? But I'm a developer myself, and I love being able to create new things. Hence this. So being able to kind of like fire through that as fast as possible is so nice. Okay. It's mapping the smart contract functions to the components at this stage, and then it's going to go into the styling plan, right? Right now, this is styling plan is very basic. So a primary color, a secondary color, and an accent. It looks awful in this preview. I tell you now, right? You look at that and there's a sin for any user interface designer that's looking at that. But I tell you, it comes out way better because the AI just knows. After this, it goes into the API plan. It generates the APIs and then the context for the APIs, and I'll show you all at the same time. Again, able to amend and verify these before continuing. Delete, add new ones. You'll be able to see here the name, the endpoint, the method, and a general description on what is being shot for. Okay. You can also, if any of these stages, it doesn't come up with exactly what you want, then you can just go and regenerate APIs if it's very far away from what you want. Each of the stages are kind of set up for that. Obviously, developer experience, very important. So now it's got a lot of the data that it needs. It's focusing now on generating the schema. So we here have the table name, we have the column names, the types, is it the primary key, is it required or can it be null, is there a foreign key restraint, and what table is that attached to. You can delete these, add new columns, delete tables, add new tables, rename everything. Completely up to yourself and how you kind of proceed there. Now it's going through mapping the APIs to the components. Then it's going to create data formats of what API is going to be sent what information from the front end and returned what information. And then it's also going to find out what environmental variables are needed, what environmental variables are required for each of the APIs. And we should see a dashboard here with all of that information kind of compiled together before going on to the final kind of hump, let's say. And where we'll get to actually see the generated DApp. As I said earlier, right, the upgrade that I made component-wise for the generator, for the actual components, it's amazing. It's a bit slower than I would have preferred, and that's just because it is a better model. We're using Claude 3.7 for the component generation. So here you can see the components, the context from earlier, what APIs are mapped to what components, what smart contract functions are mapped to what components. Going through, you can see the styling one last time, the API endpoints, the environmental variables required, data formats to and from the API, and then the schema here at the end as well. Just on to the next section. This is probably one of the best loading screens in the generator because you can actually see kind of what's going on. As I said, they do take a while. So if we have, any questions, now is probably a good time to to go into that.
I just want to say I'm super impressed. The fact that you have management of database and API endpoints and all of this just so comprehensively in one place is really, really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. It's a beautiful front-end interface. I guess I had a question on database. Like, what database management are you using from, like, if someone's deploying on Vercel and they're using like React or whatever, is it AWS? Do you recommend like MongoDB?
So it is SQL, so you can take it wherever you want, but the APIs are set up to use Supabase, right? Now, the reason I chose Supabase, other than that I'm very familiar with it, is that it's very low effort to entry. For if you've got a developer that's making things for you, then Supabase gives you a really good graphical user interface for being able to actually mess about with your tables, see what's going on, see the logs and whatnot. It's really easy for management wise, and they use they're an AWS wrapper, right? So that's on the AWS. I am looking into different partnerships with different providers, decentralized providers, to be able to move the APIs and database there. It's about like choosing the right ones and making sure, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that what we're providing isn't going to be, put on some infrastructure which is going to get rugged, right? Like we've seen so many things in the space. With projects rugging, so really want to make sure that that everything's getting like quite high quality and high tier infrastructure there, and that they've got a good developer experience, because you don't want more headaches. I know I am for sure. I do enough stress, so as the hairline proves.
Not the hairline.
The APIs are way quicker at generating than these components. There's one left, and we're almost there. Oh wow! I finally get that confirmed transaction notification. Oh, my laptop has went off the internet. Interesting. It still says that it's up there. Wow, of all times, it's done that right then. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna turn off the Wi-Fi, I guess, and turn it back on, but that means that I would have to restart the whole generator. I can fire through it as fast as possible in order to get there. That's just very disappointing that happened there. Right, let me rejoin.
Okay, no worries. Another thing is, if you wanted to show like one of the completed projects,
yeah,
that could be another.
That works too. Okay, so let me Let me just enter the studio here. Okay, laptop's back up. And go back to the home page. And then present my screen. Right. So, I'm sorry, guys. It looked amazing. I don't get to show you what the new components look like. I was so impressed with it earlier. Okay, so I can actually show you. Yeah, well, right. Just for the purpose of this, I'll kind of give you an insight on what it looks like when going through the end stages. So you can have an insight on what's happening. Move a little bit back, a little bit further. Okay. So generating all the different sections. Going back to the top, right, we have pages, tables, APIs, integrated APIs. This was before the upgraded UI here, right? So it looks way better now. And you can see, stop that. You can see here that it goes through and adds a whole bunch of stuff. You can go between the rendered version and the code. You can edit the code, and you could that will display on the front end. You can go to the tables, and you'll be able to see the SQL at the bottom. Although I can't skip past it there. So here on the APIs, you can go into the APIs. It will show you what the API is, of course, what the environment variables are. You can edit it, regenerate at this stage. And then you go into integrating the APIs. Now, this section I have fixed for the most part. Sometimes it's a little bit buggy. But here we have the API that's being integrated into the component, what the changes are made, what was removed, what was added, and then going into this one worked here in this example. So here is added the use states, the code from before, this code after, and I've also made it that you can edit this code as well. Which isn't something you can see in this demo. Once you've gone through this and integrated the APIs, the exact same process for the integration of the smart contracts into the generator. This does take maybe about 30 to 60 seconds in order to generate. And here you will see, even in like the when integrating the smart contracts, it doesn't just integrate the smart contracts, it integrates Redux as well, right? So when you're connecting your wallet and header, it's going to take that wallet and signer, it's going to store that in Redux. It's going to be able to call that going into the other sections, the other components as well. Just making sure that the data flow is as fluid as possible. And then once you've got through this stage, you start generating the folder structure. It's actually generating the pages that are combining the components together. Very, very basic kind of integration there. You can see this is the folder structure. You can open up the different files and folders. You can see the code. I think I need to actually remove those regenerate buttons. You can see here, I deployed the Dino token ETH staking contract earlier in the example. So they're here in the .env, which are there for when you download the project, which you can just download that, open it up, and you have everything on your end. Now, this video here was a 24-minute video. So going from just an idea, for example, going from an idea to a generated DApp is pretty wild. So I know I've spent like months to like over a year on some projects, and just getting through that entire process so quickly is just absolutely mind-blowing for me. Okay, I'll do the yeah, I'm gonna do the will for this. It starts off as because it's using styled components. It does have to inject the styling into the front end, and so that's why it has that very small lag there. I'm thinking of now upgrading to the newest version of Tailwind CSS. The reason that I went with style components was because with the older version of Tailwind CSS, you couldn't define exactly what the hex number was, hex code was for your colors, and so without obviously changing the Tailwind config, and you can't do that live on a website like this, or at least I couldn't figure out how to. Anyway, you can see I can connect my my wallet up here, and then I can go through this one. I'm set up as the owner of the will, so I have my assets here. I can go through the beneficiaries and the settings, and this looks so much better with the new generation. But you can go through and pause a contract, update the trusted party and whatnot. This is for ERC20 tokens. I didn't make it include ERC721 support as well, but of course, like minor adjustments to this would get you there. And of course, this is open source on GitHub for you to kind of be able to go over and use however you want. There's a number of open source projects that we have at Spark Engine, so feel free to play around, give some feedback. Would love to see the community want to come and participate. There are some really cool things we made there, actually, like a self-building desktop application proof of concept. But yeah, that's getting a little bit off topic. So kind of going into that, I'll show the staking pool deployer. This one is, you can connect your wallet, and then you can go through and see what available pools there are. These are pools that I already deployed. You get to choose what the new staking pool you're going to be able to deploy is, what the reward token is, what the staking token is, how many days you want to stake, make them stake for as a minimum duration, and what the reward rate is that you want. So like an APY, if you wanted, as the other ones are, 0.24%, if you're 24. And when you select a staking pool, you can see now in the stake and earn, you can choose an amount that you would like to stake. Maximum stake amount is 0. Okay, well, clearly I didn't test that one. In the earlier versions of this, it was a lot more buggy what was coming up, and in what was actually being generated. But it's getting way better now, and it's only going to keep getting better, right? Like as the open markets AI models get better, so does our technology, right? Like this is going to be so impactful to the space that, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, being able to speed up developers like 1,000 times is just phenomenal, right? Like,
and building smart contracts and projects can be intimidating to new devs, right? And I just feel like Dapp That blows everything away. Like no more intimidation factor. And as you demonstrated, you can also edit your contracts. If you spot an error, or if you spot something where it's like, hey, I didn't like the way it did this, I want to change this, you can tweak it yourself. Or as you mentioned, you can also regenerate the smart contract in its entirety, right, with AI, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I was gonna also add, when you were talking about it was taking you like a year just to do a project, it kind of reminded me of like the hero's journey. It would take you like so long to get to that one like element of the journey. Now with AI, it like speeds up the hero's journey.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but at least for like smart contract development, you have this AI assistant so that you can spend more time marketing your app, getting the users, finding product market fit.
Yeah, exactly. We do want to kind of add in here, kind of before this stage, like a competency test at first. Not something we have right now. It's kind of open, wild west with it at the moment. But we want to add in like some sort of education pipeline and competency test, because if you're going to be using this, then you should probably at least understand what you're doing. But it is going to transition towards being for non-technical people as well, right? As long as you have understanding of like the concepts, it will kind of transition into that period. It's just adding in loads of different sanity checks with AI into so many different areas. And then being able to use like multiple different models in order to verify that certain criteria has been met. And in terms of the like the hero's journey, I tell you that I can't tell you the number of times that I've headbutted walls for days on the bugs, right? Like so it's so much nicer, it's so much less headache than it used to be to develop these things. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Is there any other questions you have for about this or whatever?
I don't see any questions, but I'm sure we'll have a bunch once people start testing the app. And again, I think this is an amazing tool for the Moonbeam ecosystem and people wanting to come in and kind of build their dream Web3 applications. So for people out there listening and watching us, feel free to reach out on X, Moonbeam Network, across X, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you have any other questions, I'm going to throw it over to Johnny to give where you can find him and Dapp That.
Yeah, for sure. So on Twitter, we're on Dapp That AI. We're also on LinkedIn for Dapp That. If you want to find us, me personally on Twitter, you can find me at Johnny Innovates. We also have our Discord, which obviously is linked to that on the dappthat.com. And we're quite active, so if you have a question, we'll be able to get in touch with you really fast. One of the benefits of like our team being so spread out across the world is that we have almost 24/7 uptime, right? In terms of like being able to, someone's awake and like working on the company, so we can respond quite fast. In terms of the future of the generator, right? And I want to hear back from the community on this, right? I would genuinely love this. But I want to convert this into a play to earn game generator, right? So it does the DApp, it does the game, and it kind of integrates it all together. And then moving on from that, and this is a bit early to kind of be telling you, but it's like really where I want this to go in the long term, is to make this into that play to earn game generator into a metaverse generator, right? Where you can really easily generate your own worlds, characters, assets, smart contracts, integrate them all together in your website. and have like full interoperability between all of those realms. And I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on that. And yeah, if that's something you want, let us know.
So folks should leave a comment on Twitter, right? Would that be a good place for them on X? A good place to
Yeah,
kind of provide
it would be great. Yeah. Yeah, me and Andrew, our COO, we're co-founder and CEO. We're pretty active on Twitter.
Amazing. Hey, this is really impressive, Johnny. And we want to, thank you for not just being here today, but also, speaking with us in the past and working together and various, collaborations. It's a pleasure. And this is, growing the opportunities for Moonbeam developers, and it's growing the opportunities for developers in a variety of ecosystems. And it's also incredible to see how quickly you're adopting the new models, as you mentioned. I think 3.7 what came out last week and you're already using it. It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's one of the benefits of using Spark, right? It's like you get access to easily 100 models with just one API key, right? So building these things is just much easier. I do want to say thank you very much for having me here. It's been really nice. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and being able to show this off to everyone. Because when everyone's make their brainchild, let's say, they're just so happy to show it off. And so thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And we've got a total count here of 928 views. And this is going to be, on YouTube. So we're going to point people towards this, later on down the road.
That's amazing.
On YouTube.
Thank you. It's a great opportunity that you guys gave me here. And I really do appreciate it.
Well, keep building, keep shipping, and we will see you in the metaverse or whatever alternative metaverse we create with Dapp That.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. I would tip my hat, but